I'm not a lawyer, but have you heard of the Kenneth Herring story out of Atlanta, Georgia? Some folks are calling it a citizen's arrest gone wrong, but listen, let me tell you the story and you tell me what you think, because it's crazy. So this is 62-year-old Kenneth Herring. And on Tuesday, May 7th, 2019, around 6 o'clock in the evening, Kenneth is driving right near Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta. So he's driving his Dodge Dakota pickup truck, runs a red light, and ends up hitting a tractor trailer. As you can imagine, the tractor trailer and the driver of the tractor trailer were fine. There are a couple witnesses to the accident, one being an off-duty correctional officer and another being a 21-year-old girl named Hannah Payne. So Kenneth gets out of his pickup truck and he seems to be disoriented.
He was disoriented. He was asking what happened, who hit me.
The witnesses call the police, and after about 20 minutes of police not showing up, the witnesses start calling back. This is the 911 call from 21-year-old Hannah Payne.
And there was just an accident. I'm sure they've already called. It's a red Dodge pickup truck. I think it's a Dakota. And a semi was involved. And the red Dakota ran the red light and slammed into the side of the semi.
Oh, okay. And what's your name?
My name is Hannah, Hannah. Last name is Payne.
Okay, and now here is the 911 call from the off-duty correctional officer.
Yeah, we had a call earlier, and it's been over like 20 minutes now, and no police or no ambulance have shown up. The reason why I'm asking them, because this the driver who caused the accident, I think he's impaired. Something's going on with him. Then he's moving his ears. He's going to drive off now. He's driving off. Take a picture of the driver light. Take a picture quick. Did you get a picture of the driver light? That's tag. Oh, man. Let's get out the road. Get out the road. Now, the other driver who was in she's going to take a picture of the vehicle. If I was in uniform, I would have took a seat, but I didn't. Hopefully the lady in the Jeep was almost in the incident, so she turned around and she went after him. So she's going to take a picture of his vehicle and stuff.
What happens at the end of the last call that I played is that 62-year-old Kenneth Herring is driving away from the scene of the accident. The caller is trying to make sure they have his driver's license, and 21-year-old Hannah Payne starts following Kenneth Herring.
Okay, now we actually do not want you to chase him. We just want you to be safe.
He is drunk. I'm sorry, but I'm here to tell you I'm not going to follow him. Because he is going to cause another accident.
Hannah, believing Kenneth is drunk, follows him for about 1 mile, and prosecutors say she blocks Kenneth's vehicle in with her Jeep, then gets out of her Jeep. Some kind of scuffle ensues.
In the background, you can hear, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the effing car.
Ma'am!
Yes.
Ma'am! He just pulled the trigger of my gun in my hand!
Ma'am, you are not supposed to follow him.
Kenneth Payne is rushed to the hospital, but ultimately he passes away from a gunshot wound to his abdomen. Oh, and an EMS worker who was on the scene of the accident, as well as Kenneth's family, all say that he was having a diabetic crisis.
And I know he was having a diabetic episode because he don't just run off the scene. I knew he was trying to get to the hospital.
And that's why he was leaving the scene. He was trying to get to a hospital, which was about 3 miles away. An autopsy confirmed that there were no drugs or alcohol in his system at all. So Hannah has been charged with malice murder, 2 counts of felony murder, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and 3 charges of weapons possession during a crime. Family members of Hannah say it was an unfortunate event in that Kenneth attacked her.
This was an unfortunate situation that, turned out the way it did, but not at the hands of my daughter. It was not her fault.
The trial has been delayed a number of times, but jury selection is expected to begin tomorrow. Oh, and in case you're wondering, the citizen's arrest law was repealed in Georgia after Ahmaud Arbery's death. Okay? I'm not a lawyer, but let me fill you in on the first 3 days of the state of Georgia versus Hannah Payne trial. Hopefully you've watched my first video recap on this trial. If not, go watch it, because I'm not going to review the opening statements or the first 2 witnesses from this trial. I'm going to get right into day 2. Okay, so this is Charity Super. She trains the 911 operators in the Clayton County area, and during her testimony, Hannah Payne's full 911 call was played for the jury. I'm only going to play some of the call because most of it I played in my first video, but there's some of this I didn't play and you want to hear.
Okay, so he is going west, down Fort Parkway.
Okay, so you couldn't get the same number?
No, but I'm catching up to him right now.
Okay, no, we actually do not want you to chase him. We just want you to be safe.
I understand. I understand 100%. I'm just going to give the tag numbers, nothing else.
So, if you can go back to that location where the incident happened, and because someone is actually on the way to you guys now. You know, that's what I want. I want you guys to go back to the location where it happened, and an officer will be out there momentarily, okay? Ma'am.
Ma'am!
Yes.
Ma'am! He just pulled the trigger of my gun in my hand. Why do you...
Ma'am, you are not supposed to follow him.
He hit my car!
Okay, you got the tag number.
There's a police officer down the street. Tell him to come up here now. He pulled the trigger on my gun after he attacked me. Tell the police officer to turn around, stop the 285 exit, and come up here immediately. I now need paramedics. I'm safe, but he ain't.
On cross-examination, Hannah's attorney, his name is Matt Tucker, he seems to be emphasizing that the 911 operator didn't repeatedly emphasize to Hannah that she shouldn't follow Kenneth.
They're told to say, our policy, what we learned is not to chase and say it one time and not say anything else.
We tell them that they can do it if they feel safe to do so, but we don't want to do anything to put them in danger nor the public.
How many times are they trained to say, we don't want you to follow this car, we don't want you to do this? How many times are they supposed to say it in their training?
We tell them that. If they say they're going to continue to do it, then we just try to get as much information as we can.
You're saying that the policy is to tell them not to follow or not to chase, but to be safe. But it's not to reiterate that or come back and say, hey, our policy is this, don't do that.
We would tell them not to do it. I don't know what the difference is between telling them once or telling them 5 times.
Help me understand. So it's a policy for y'all to say it. It's not a policy to try to force them not to or try to convince them not to.
What a person does on their own will is what they do.
Okay, the next witness was this woman, and she gives her eyewitness account of what she saw.
It was like a pickup truck right there, and a Jeep came and like ran over this little spot and blocked him. Blocked him from driving, so he abruptly braked, and then a woman popped out of the car, and she said, "Get the F out of the truck," to him a bunch of times, and she pulled out a gun, and I remember there was a lot of traffic. I remember he backed up a little bit, and he hit her truck, and she jumped through the window and started fighting him.
On cross-examination of this witness, Hannah's attorney, Matthew Tucker, repeats the story she's given back to her and addresses something else.
And today you're testifying that she came out of the vehicle, held him at gunpoint.
Yes.
He rammed her vehicle.
Yes.
She jumped in the window.
Yes.
And then you pulled in front so you couldn't see anything else.
Yes.
All right, now that you've had time to review that document, did you ever mention about a Jeep jumping a median to cut off the truck?
No.
Okay. Your testimony here today is that she jumped out with a gun and held him at gunpoint, correct?
Yes.
Okay. From that statement you wrote right there, did you say anything about her jumping out with a gun and holding him at gunpoint?
No.
Okay. And in fact, in that statement, you said that they started hitting and then a gun was pulled, correct?
No.
Okay. What did you say?
She cut him off, and he had to brake suddenly, and he almost hit her by like an inch. Then she hopped out so quickly, screaming, and pulled up her shirt with her gun. Then she started hitting him.
Now listen, eyewitness testimony can get a bit tricky in trials because people's perspectives and memories can vary. And you're going to see that come into play with this next witness, which is this woman. And she recounts what she saw, and her version of events is a bit different than the first eyewitness.
After she repeatedly punched him and yelled at him, she backed away and she pulled the gun out after punching him repeatedly and asked him to get out the car. So she went back to the car and tried to open the door. That's when I seen her reach inside the truck. It looked like she tried to open the truck from the inside. That's when I heard the gunshot.
And to be expected, on cross-examination, Hannah's attorney highlights some of the differences between her testimony and the previous witness.
Did you see any vehicle jump over that median?
So if she did jump a median, that part I did not see.
Okay. Did you see her jump into the window?
Jump into the window?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Okay. And at any time, did you see her come out of the Jeep with a gun and holding that gunpoint?
No, that's not how it happened.
Okay, come back for part 2 so I can get into more of the testimony. I'm not a lawyer, but this is part 2 of my recap for the state of Georgia versus Hannah Payne trial. Okay, so jumping right in. The next witness was the medical examiner, and she testified about her findings after receiving Kenneth Herring's body.
There was a small bruise here on the left upper chest region near the collarbone and a gunshot wound of the abdomen. As a part of the autopsy examination, because he had a medical history of diabetes, I conducted a test that helps to look for any evidence of elevated blood sugar. More specifically, the test can show us if his blood sugar was elevated at the time of death, but it cannot tell us if the blood sugar was low. Yes, so the comprehensive blood screen at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation tests for all the major and common drugs of abuse, and there are hundreds of different additional drugs that the panel covers. He had a negative comprehensive blood screen.
Hannah's attorney, Matthew Tucker, asked the ME about entrances and exits of the bullets and the possible positioning of Kenneth's body.
But from your expert opinion, looking at all of the angles and the way the bullet entered the body,
I have no information on the position of the decedent. That would change my opinion depending on the positioning of the decedent. So without that information, I cannot render an opinion.
Now, following the medical examiner, there's more eyewitness testimony. A witness gives his version of what he remembers from that day.
She was actually standing at the guy's driver door, yelling, hitting on the window, hitting on the door, whatever she was doing. I ended up pulling out my phone to record. What I mainly remember the most is when I'm riding past, it's just a physical between the two of them, but as far as their arms.
Okay.
And just her yelling. That's pretty much the most part. As I was recording, I heard a gunshot. I ended up getting out to check on the guy after I heard the gunshot.
And here's Cross by Matt Tucker.
did you see Miss Payne's shirt that day?
I mean, I honestly wasn't paying any mind to her clothing.
Okay, but you did see it after the incident?
Honestly, so after the gunshot went off, I actually went to go check on the gentleman in the truck. I wasn't worried about Miss Payne. At first, I originally didn't see the gun. After I watched the video several times is when I kind of came to that conclusion.
Is it fair to say during the video that it appears she's picking up something right there?
Yeah, she picked up a shell casing.
Okay. And is this a continuation of the video? Does that appear to be a shell casing?
I believe the shell casing was picked up in the video. I think these photographs are one, real blurred, and then two, you wouldn't be able to see a shell casing through these photographs anyway.
So you're not familiar if she picked up a phone or a shell casing?
I'm not saying that she didn't.
Oh, I'm just saying, you're saying you don't know what she picked up?
No. No, I mean, to my knowledge, she picked up the shell casing from the video that I seen.
Then there's a witness who took photos of Hannah Payne when she came to the police station. The witness also got into some items that were found in Kenneth Herring's truck. So I'll start with those and then move into Hannah Payne's injuries.
I mean, there's tools, which we've already denoted, but yeah, there's tools in there. There's certainly some type of saw in the floor.
And does that appear to be easy accessible from the driver's position?
Yeah, it would be. It was, I believe you could see it if you want to bring the other picture back up from the back seat, but I believe you can see it in that photo. It would have been behind in the back seat, kind of in the center. I don't know if they can see if I point on here, but if you see the yellow and black jumper cables or whatever that is, over here? Yes, it would be to the bottom left of that. Right. Up and down one is approximately, I would say, 3.5 inches, and that one horizontally would be approximately almost 3 inches. It's kind of pink, but it looks almost like it's swollen a little bit. There's a small little mark right above her upper lip on her right side. That's Miss Payne's face, but there was some pinkness right there. The shirt was torn.
The state brought up this interesting point on redirect.
Behind the driver's seat, which is kind of smushed back against the back seat. Would you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
There's bag.
Yes, ma'am.
Some cables.
Yes, ma'am.
And the butt of this knife is shoved down in a bag, or in that area, correct?
Behind the seat, yes, ma'am.
The defendant's hand.
Yes, ma'am.
And her fingers.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you aware if that's the state of her fingernails when the defendant first arrived at the Clayton County Police Department?
No, ma'am, it is not.
What was the state of the defendant's fingernails when she first arrived at the Clayton County Police Department?
She had on long fingernails, ma'am.
Fake nails?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that was the first few days of this trial. The state has now rested their case, and Hannah's attorney is now presenting their case. Hannah is actually one of the first witnesses on their side, so we're going to hear from her own mouth what she says happened. I'll be back with a recap for that. I'm not a lawyer, but this is the part 3 recap of the state of Georgia versus Hannah Payne. Okay, so Hannah Payne herself got on the witness stand to testify about what happened the day of the incident and the day Kenneth Herring lost his life. Hannah's testimony started off talking about the first accident that she witnessed between Kenneth Herring and the tractor trailer, and says that the off-duty officer, who she says introduced himself as a state officer, kind of took a position of authority and at one point said that Kenneth was inebriated.
And he said, he's okay, but he said he's definitely inebriated.
Are you sure that's the word he used?
I'm positive, because it prompted both me and the truck driver to reply, simultaneously saying, do you mean he's drunk?
Then Hannah goes into the story.
So I'm explaining to the dispatch what happened, and as he's pulling off, she's asking me, was I able to get the tag number? Realizing I wasn't able to, I was already at my vehicle, and I completely got in my vehicle and went to go pull off. The truck driver and the state officer was still standing over in the street. I asked him, did he go straight? And he said yes. And he's telling me, he said, go.
So at that time, you were under the impression that he's a state officer sending you to get the tag, and 911 knows that you're on the way to get the tag?
Correct.
So you never heard them give a warning of not to chase, or?
No. And from how I remembered it, that's when she told me that she just wanted me to be safe. I told her that I understood, and that I wasn't chasing. I was just going to follow, just stay behind him, to stay with him until the police officer could get to us. Basically just keep them in the loop, since they obviously weren't there yet. This is the way that I interpreted it, was that she wanted both of us to go back to the original accident site because police should be there by now. I saw him stopped in the turning lane, so I turned as well, and when I stopped, I was under the impression, with me having 911 on the phone, that I could just be kind of like a messenger. So I took my phone on speaker and I took it to him to show him that I had the police on the phone.
Now you mentioned that he was in turn lane and was stopped, correct?
Correct.
Did you cause him to stop?
I did not. I was walking up to him and I am explaining that I'm on the phone with the police and that they wanted us to go back to the original accident site. Apparently I was close enough for him to reach out the car, and he knocked my phone out of my hand, and he grabbed me by my wrist, and he pulled me into the vehicle. At some point, my shirt had gotten grabbed. I'm telling him to let me go, and that's when he hits the gas, and we go forward. I'm still in the car at this point. When you are being held against your will and you have no idea what's ahead of you and you're looking down, it felt like it lasted forever. Before he punched the gas is when he was kind of turning his body and he was reaching behind him. That's when I drew my weapon. He grabbed my hand with the gun in it, and then he started to try to turn it, to pry it, almost like he was trying to pry it out of my hand so that he could take it away. And as he's pulling it is when the gun went off.
Okay, come back for the rest of Hannah Payne's testimony. I'm not a lawyer, but this is the Part 4 recap for the state of Georgia versus Hannah Payne. Part 3 left off when the weapon has just been discharged. So I'm going to pick up with Hannah on the phone with 911. She's just told them that Kenneth Herring just pulled the trigger. And now she's asking for an ambulance.
I asked the dispatch for an ambulance. The police officer had come up. One of the people that was standing there, did you just shoot him? And I told her, I said, no, but that I never had my finger on the trigger. I never had any intention on pulling the trigger.
And in fact, you never did pull that trigger, did you?
Correct.
Her attorney closes out his direct questioning of Hannah with this lesson that she says she learned.
That clearly trying to do the right thing is not the right answer.
Okay, and then ADA Hunter does the cross-examination for the state, and she immediately goes into the number of times the operator told Hannah not to chase Kenneth.
And the 911 dispatch indicated to you approximately 4 times to either not chase Mr. Herring and go back to the scene, correct?
Incorrect.
Your response, no, but I'm catching up to him right now. And the dispatcher tells you, okay, ma'am, we actually do not want you to chase him. We just want you to be safe. The first time they tell you not to chase him, correct?
She didn't tell me not to. She just said that they didn't want me to because of my safety.
And what did you say next? You can read it.
I understand.
Okay. And the dispatcher tells you after that, it's not safe to chase him. Second time, correct?
That's what the transcript guy said. When we're listening to it, I don't remember hearing that, but...
And once she gets the tag number from you, she tells you, okay, so if you could go back to that location where the incident happened because someone is actually on the way to you guys now. Is that correct?
Correct.
So there should be no confusion that she told both of you to go back to that location. That's the third time she's telling you to not continue to follow Mr. Herring and go back to the location. Correct?
No, that's when she told me to go back to the location, the first time. She didn't say anything about not following.
You can read the next paragraph.
Okay, well, there is a police officer there, but he is drunk. I'm sorry, but I'm here to tell you I'm not going to follow him because he's going to cause another accident. So I will stay behind him until an officer can get to us. But until then, I'm not moving.
Right, so you were aware that dispatcher did not want you to continue to follow Mr. Herring, correct?
Sure.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
The dispatcher for a 4th time indicated to you that she wanted you to return to the incident location, correct?
Correct, and not for a 4th time that she wanted me to not follow.
Hannah also says that she did not cut off Kenneth's truck or cause him to stop his vehicle.
So it's your testimony today that you did not cause him to stop his vehicle?
Correct.
And so in order for you to get in that position, you had to turn your steering wheel to the right towards Mr. Herring's vehicle, correct?
Towards the lane.
And his vehicle is in that lane, correct?
At the time it was further back, so no.
So if it was further back, you had to turn your vehicle in front of his vehicle, correct?
No.
Context for this next clip is that Hannah and her attorney allege that there is a portion of the 911 call that's been altered. They say the portion in which she's actually telling Kenneth that they need to go back to the original scene was taken out. And in this next clip, you hear her kind of hinting at that.
And so at no point on that 911 tape did you ever tell him to stop, go back to the scene?
I did.
And did you hear that on the 911?
Conveniently, no.
In regards to Hannah's finger on the trigger, ADA Hunter references the statement that Hannah gave to investigators.
Now, is your testimony today that you've never had your finger on the trigger?
It is.
Read that paragraph.
And he's pulling, and after he tried to pull the trigger, when he came back around is when I had my hand on the trigger, and he still was squeezing, reaching, pulling, turning.
And on page 40?
I'm not pointing it at him, but I'm not pointing it away.
ADA Hunter wraps up her cross-examination of Hannah with this line of questioning.
You also stated that you had no intention, or you wasn't trying to interject yourself in a situation that you just got away from, correct?
Correct.
So in the initial incident, your vehicle was not struck, correct?
Correct.
And so there was no reason for you to interject yourself in the final conclusion of what happened with Mr. Herring as far as that incident was concerned. And you're not post-certified?
No, I'm not.
You're not a police officer?
I'm not.
Nobody deputized you on that day to apprehend anyone?
No, they did not.
And you said you had training with this firearm?
Yes.
And in that training, you didn't learn that you don't pull a gun unless you're going to use it?
I learned that you don't put your finger on the trigger unless you're going to use it.
And it was your testimony today in that interview that your trigger, your finger was on the trigger, correct?
My finger was in the trigger, on the trigger guard, not in the trigger.
So the defense had no other witnesses. The state did have an additional witness they wanted to call. Both sides have given closing arguments, and now it's in the hands of the jury. They are officially deliberating, so we'll see how this goes. I'm not a lawyer, but just that quick, there is a verdict in the state of Georgia versus Hannah Payne. I'm going to play the clip.
To count one as to the offense of malice murder, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count two, as to the offense of felony murder, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count three, as to the offense of aggravated assault, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count four, as the offense of felony murder, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count five, as the offense of false imprisonment, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count six, as to the offense of possession of firearm during commission of a felony, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count seven, as to the offense of possession of firearm during commission of a felony, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count eight, as to the offense of possession of firearm during commission of a felony, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Respectfully submitted, the 12th day of December 2023.
Ms. Payne, I'm going to remand you into the custody of the Sheriff's Department at this time.
So she was immediately remanded into custody, and she will be back on Friday for sentencing.
Is there any possible way that we can have this done on Friday? I know you're already having court, and I'm already in court. The family's in from out of town.
Okay.
And they have traveled, and we are putting them up and
okay.
Tells to be here. Just for their convenience, we would request that the sentencing be on the 15th.
Okay. I could consider 10 o'clock on Friday morning. Okay, all right. Thank you. adjourned at this time. Thank you all.
I'm not a lawyer, but today was the sentencing hearing for Hannah Payne. So let me recap how it went. 2 of Kenneth Herring's sisters and 1 of his brothers got on the stand to give some impact statements.
I'll never see my brother again, only through pictures. The same sentence that she gave him, I would like to see the same sentence given to her.
I feel that whatever the court gives her, which should be life without parole, she deserves more.
And then a couple people from Hannah's side also got on the stand. The first was a family friend.
Those that love her understand that a tragedy here occurred. And we ask the court to look into her heart and know that she is a human worthy of saving.
And then a coworker of Hannah's got on the stand.
I've been praying about things for a long time, and I want you all to know that I prayed over this building before I walked in today. I've been praying for you. I prayed for the jurors. I prayed for the prosecution attorney. I've prayed for everybody. You've been prayed for today. And I ask, that you find mercy. She's been portrayed as a vigilante, a racist, privileged. I don't know if y'all are aware, and even if it makes a difference, but, talking about not seeing color, Hannah, her high school boyfriend was a black man. She's been involved in, a relationship now with, a Dominican guy. Her best friends are black. There's all different colors in her life. I just want to make sure that she's portrayed in that light.
And the last person was one of Hannah's neighbors. Following those statements, the state attorney gave some words of what they believe Hannah should be sentenced to.
Mr. Herring was a human worthy of saving. He had a family to go home to. You have the authority in count 1 to sentence the defendant to life without parole as requested by the family. And we would ask that you consider their request and leave the choice as to whether or not the life is with or without parole in the discretion of this court. However, on the false imprisonment, if this court does choose to give this defendant life with the possibility of parole, it is the state's request that the 10 years on that false imprisonment run consecutive. And then on count 6, you are required to give a consecutive 5-year sentence. And we would ask that it run consecutive to the false imprisonment for a sentence of life plus a consecutive 15 years. We will leave it within this court's discretion as to whether or not you think this defendant deserves a sentence of life with or without parole, but we would ask that you consider the statements made by the family in this case.
Also, before jury selection, the state offered a plea deal to Hannah of life with the possibility of parole. She declined that offer. So at this hearing, the state attorney is requesting life, if with parole, 15 years to run consecutively, meaning one after the other. And then Hannah's defense attorney also gave some words.
The court could take that in consideration of her age, the facts, the compassion, and sentence her to life with parole and have the other charge run concurrent and probate that gun charge. I think it would allow her time to reflect, to fully understand that things happen and it can be found to be wrong, but it's how you handle yourself through that adversity to get through it and come back and show the true you is what allows us to keep hope in our heart and allows us to keep going.
He was requesting life with the possibility of parole and the false imprisonment charge to be run concurrently, meaning at the same time, and the gun charge to be a probation sentence. And here's what the judge sentenced her to.
With respect to count 1, malice murder, the court will impose a sentence of life with the possibility of parole. With respect to count 5, the false imprisonment verdict, the court imposes a sentence of 8 years consecutive. With respect to count 6, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, the court imposes a sentence of 5 years that will run consecutive. So the court's total sentence is life with the possibility of parole plus 8 years consecutive on false imprisonment and 5 years consecutive on the possession of firearm during the commission of a felony.
According to some tweets and docs I've seen, Georgia requires defendants to serve 30 years on life sentences before being eligible for parole. So that would mean 30 years for the life sentence plus 13 years for the other charges. So she would be eligible for parole in about 43 years. But y'all know I'm not a lawyer. There we go.